Let's get right to it. President Trump has signed a new executive order aimed at your grocery bill. The plan? Cut tariffs on key food items, coffee, bananas, and beef. These are staples in American homes, and the administration says this move is about giving families a break. By removing import taxes, the hope is companies will pass savings on to you at the checkout. This comes as families nationwide feel the squeeze of rising costs and tight budgets. The president is positioning this as decisive action to provide immediate relief. The administration frames it as more than economic policy. It's a helping hand to working Americans. Tariffs, they argue, have acted as a hidden tax on everyday goods. Eliminating them is meant to reverse some of the price hikes that have hit consumers hard. Focusing on coffee, bananas, and beef is strategic. These are imported in large quantities, so tariff cuts could have a real impact. The White House is betting this targeted approach will quickly lower prices for millions. The next time you shop, your morning coffee or ground beef might cost a little less. It's a bold promise, and the administration is putting its credibility on the line. This executive order is just the first step in a broader push to tackle affordability. The message is clear. The president hears Americans' concerns and is taking action. Whether this will deliver real relief remains to be seen. But for now, the administration is betting on tariff cuts to make a difference. Why have coffee, bananas, and beef gotten so expensive? For coffee, bad weather in Brazil and Vietnam, plus supply chain issues, have driven up prices. Tariffs added on top made things worse for consumers. Bananas, the U.S. imports almost all of them, mostly from Central and South America. Weather, disease, and rising fuel costs all push prices higher. Tariffs were another layer of cost at the grocery store. Beef is similar. Even though the U.S. produces a lot, we import certain cuts. Costs for feed, labor, and transportation have all risen. Tariffs on imported beef from Canada or Mexico add even more pressure. All these factors, supply chain disruptions, weather, higher costs, have built up over years. Tariffs, meant to protect American industries, have sometimes just added to the burden. The Trump administration argues that removing these tariffs is a common-sense way to help. The hope undo some of the damage and bring prices down. It's not a silver bullet, but it's a start. The real test will be whether these savings reach your wallet. President Trump blames the previous administration's policies for today's inflation. He says massive spending overheated the economy, too much money chasing too few goods. Inflation, he argues, is a tax that hits working families hardest. Rising costs for gas, food, and housing have eroded gains for many Americans. Trump promises a return to stability, pointing to his previous term as proof. The tariff cuts are his first step. Concrete action, not just talk. He's positioning himself as an outsider willing to break with tradition to get results. The message: if a policy isn't working for Americans, it's time to change it. Many voters resonate with this, feeling left behind by the political class. Trump's philosophy: low inflation, low taxes, less regulation. Tariff cuts fit right in, removing a government-imposed cost on necessities. The administration hopes this move will provide relief and signal seriousness about fighting inflation. Whether it works will depend on how the markets and companies respond. For now, it's a high-profile bet on a familiar Trump theme, putting more money back in your pocket. How do tariff cuts lower your grocery bill? A tariff is a tax on imported goods. Companies pay it, then pass the cost down the line to you. Remove the tariff and the company's costs drop. The administration hopes competition will force companies to lower prices. If one brand cuts prices, others may follow to stay competitive. The biggest winners should be consumers, especially low and middle-income families. Importing businesses could also benefit from lower costs, but there's no guarantee. Companies might just pocket the savings if competition is weak. The policy's success depends on whether savings actually reach shoppers. Even with new measures, inflation remains stubborn. Its roots go back to the pandemic, when government spending and supply chain chaos sent prices soaring. The previous administration tried to cool things off with interest rate hikes. Inflation has eased from its peak, but prices are still rising faster than before. Wages went up for a while, but that also fueled higher prices. Businesses passed labor costs on to customers, creating a tough cycle. Trump's policies, including immigration, aim to protect American workers and control labor supply. The challenge: support wage growth without triggering more inflation. Tariff cuts are just one tool. The administration faces complex economic forces. Escaping the shadow of recent inflation will take more than a single policy. The administration must balance relief with long-term stability. The fight against inflation is far from over. Americans are watching to see if these new steps will finally bring relief. The Trump administration is considering more ways to help families. One idea: new $2,000 rebate checks for eligible Americans, similar to pandemic stimulus payments. The goal is to put money directly in people's hands for bills, groceries, or local spending. Another proposal: a 50-year mortgage, stretching payments over a longer period to lower monthly costs. This could make homeownership more affordable, especially for first-time buyers. Supporters say rebate checks offer fast relief, and the risk of fueling more inflation is low if it's a one-time payment. The 50-year mortgage is seen as a creative way to help more people buy homes. Critics worry about the long-term costs, but supporters argue it's worth it to restore the American dream. Both ideas are designed to show the government is on the side of regular people. The administration is betting these bold moves will resonate with voters. Whether they work as intended is still up for debate. For now, the message is clear: more help could be on the way. The administration is looking for new ways to adapt to today's economic reality. Not everyone thinks these policies are wise. Critics warn that more rebate checks could fuel inflation, just like pandemic stimulus did. Some economists call it a recipe for more price hikes. The 50-year mortgage faces skepticism too. Experts say it doesn't solve the real problem: a shortage of homes. Lower payments might just drive prices higher, creating a bigger housing bubble. Critics argue we need more housing supply, not just easier borrowing. Even tariff cuts have skeptics. Will companies really pass savings to consumers, or just keep the profits? Many industries are dominated by a few big players, so competition may not be strong enough. The intention is to help, but critics question whether these moves will work, or make things worse. The debate is fierce and the stakes are high. Only time will tell if these policies deliver real relief. The 50-year mortgage debate highlights a bigger issue: America's housing crisis. Home ownership, once central to the American dream, now feels out of reach for many. Prices have soared, outpacing wage growth, and supply hasn't kept up. Builders focus on luxury homes, while zoning laws make new construction tough. High interest rates add another barrier, sidelining buyers and sellers alike. There's no single solution. Policies like the 50-year mortgage might help some, but don't fix the root problems. Real change will require more housing supply, zoning reform, and stable economic conditions. It's a long-term challenge needing effort from all levels of government. The path forward is complex, but the stakes, affordable homes and financial security, are too important to ignore. America's housing puzzle won't be solved overnight, but the conversation is finally front and center.